Hi, it's Fisher from Sewmate. Welcome to my channel. If you want to see how I make this pleated puff sleeve top, please stay tuned. If you haven't subscribed to my channel yet, please do. And make sure to turn on your notification bell so that each time I upload new videos you get notified. You will need your basic bodice block to do this. I've got a tutorial on this channel on how you can make one. I'll leave a link in the description below and the link above as well. Starting with the front bodice, trace around your block, making sure to mark the notches. So we're going to be ignoring the dart in this top because we want it nice and relaxed. So square in your waistline and extend your hemline a little further. Now I'm lengthening my top by 5 centimeters and adding a further 2 centimeters for hem allowance. At the center front, we're going to be lowering it down by 10 centimeters and widening our neck shoulder point by 4 centimeters. Coming to the waistline, we're going out 2 centimeters. And at the hip line, we're going out 2 centimeters as well, so that we can add a little bit more ease there. So 2 centimeters at the waistline and 2 centimeters at the hip line, and squaring a line down from there up to the hemline. With our curved ruler, just join these points together and join these 2 points together with a straight line as well, like I'm doing here. Lowering our neckline 10 centimeters at center front. Now I'm just outlining my seam allowance for the shoulder seam there. Now marking in my 4 centimeters, put a mark and squaring a line up the seam allowance. Now join these 2 points nicely with a curved ruler like I'm doing here to form a nice V neckline. Adding a seam allowance 1 centimeter. And smoothing everything out nicely with a curved ruler. So from the seam allowance that we just drawn, we're just going to go around measuring through 7 centimeters for our front facing. And smoothing everything out nicely with a curved ruler like I'm doing here. So get a fresh pattern paper, put it under your pattern, and we're going to be tracing around for our front facing with a tracing wheel like I'm doing here. Lift your pattern and I'm labeling my center front. Cut around your facing piece using the tracing wheel marks that are there. And labeling the pattern front facing, cut 1 unfold. So our center front is going to be on fold, plus 1 fusing on fold 2, and I put my initial. Now adding a grain line to the pattern piece parallel to the center front. And our front facing piece is finished. Now bring back your main pattern for the front top and cut around the pattern like I'm doing here. So center front is going to be on fold 2. Now adding notches to the pattern and labeling the pattern front top, cut 1 unfold, and I put my initial. And adding my grain line parallel to center front. So the front top is finished. Now moving on to the back. Get your back bodice and trace around your block as usual, making sure to mark all your notches. So we got a center back seam here, of which we're going to be taking it out of the pattern because we're going to be putting our back on fold. So just outlining it there, 1.5 centimeters, and it's not gonna be included in our pattern anymore. Squaring in my waistline in the hip line and adding 5 centimeters like we did with the front, plus 2 centimeters hem allowance. So go down 2 centimeters at center back and widening the neck shoulder junction by 4 centimeters, going out 2 centimeters at the waistline and 2 centimeters at the hemline. So 2 centimeters waistline, put a mark, and square a line down 2 centimeters out at the hip line up to the hemline, connecting these 2 points with a straight line and these 2 points with a curved line. Now 2 centimeters down, square line, outlining my seam allowance for the shoulder there and marking 4 centimeters and squaring a line up to the seam allowance and down a bit. Joining the 2 points nicely with a curved ruler. Now adding a seam allowance 1 centimeter and smoothing everything out with a curved ruler. So we're measuring down from the outer line 7 centimeters for our facing for the back, and just following it through like I'm doing here, measuring 7 centimeters all the way through, smoothing everything out nicely with a curved ruler. Put a new pattern paper under your pattern and we're going to trace around the facing piece like we did with the front using a tracing wheel mark. Make sure you're starting from the center back line. Lift your pattern. So I'm labeling my center back there. Cutting around my pattern using the tracing wheel marks that are left on the pattern paper there. And labeling the pattern back facing. Cut 1 on fold. So center back is going to be on fold, plus 1 fusing on fold 2, and I put my initial. So grain line is going to go parallel to the center back. Bring back your pattern and cut around the pattern like I'm doing here. So center back is going to be on fold, adding notches to the pattern and labeling the pattern back top. Cut 1 on fold and I put my initial, adding a grain line parallel to the center back, and our back top pattern is finished. Now we're going to be making use of this pleated puff sleeve pattern. I'll leave a link to the tutorial above and a link in the description below as well. You can visit it and make one for yourself if you don't have it already. So all our patterns are finished. Now we're moving on to sewing. Now on to making our top. What you need are your completed patterns, your fabrics and your cutting tools. Now for the fabrics, I'm going to be using this poplin fabric, and for the sleeves I'll be using this beautiful floral organza fabric. So now let's start cutting our fabrics. Now all our pattern pieces are cut and ready to sew. So the first thing we're going to do is to go ahead and interface the facing pieces for both the front and back. I've done that already for mine. So grab the 2 pieces, lay them on the table, right sides facing, matching the shoulder seams, and we're just going to go ahead and pin along. So we take this to the sewing machine and sew along the shoulder seams. When we finish that, we're going to go ahead, open the pattern and overlock right around the outer edges. Okay, so I'm gonna put this on the side for now. Grab the front and back pieces, lay them on the table with the right sides facing. Matching the shoulder seams. and we're going to pin along the shoulders. So we'll take this to the sewing machine as well and sew along the shoulder seams and overlock them. I'm gonna put this on the side as well. Now when it comes to cutting your sleeve pattern, make sure to take your time and transfer all your notches because they will help you to fold the pleats nicely, okay? So let's cut. Use the notches that we have on the pattern to fold the pleats together, okay? Now take this to the sewing machine as well, and we're just going to be sewing down our pleats. I've got a seam allowance of 1 centimeter here, so I'm going to be sewing within my seam allowance. So I'll be using 0.5 centimeters to sew this down for both sides. Let's go and do all that. So that's done. Now we're gonna get our top and we're going to lay it on the table with the right side facing up. Get the facing piece and we're going to lay it on top of it with the right side facing down, meaning at the end it's right side facing, and we're going to go on and just pin along the neckline. So we're going to take this to the sewing machine and sew along the whole neckline edge, okay? Whilst we're there, we're also going to go on and just align our sleeves to the armholes here. Make sure you've got the right sleeve for the armhole using your notches there, and we're going to pin along, right side facing. So we're going to take this to the sewing machine and just sew along the armholes for both sides and overlock them. Let's go and do that. Okay, now so we've done that, and now we're gonna go on and clip around the neckline. When we finish that, we're going to go on and understitch it. So we're just going to roll the facing towards the seam allowance there, and we're going to be stitching like 2 to 3 millimeters away from the seam, attaching both the facing and the seam allowance together, okay, under stitching right round. So we'll do that. Okay, now so that's done, and I went ahead and gave it a nice press. Okay, so now we're going to turn our top to the wrong side and fold it back, right sides facing, matching our side seams. Now we're going to pin along the side seams from the hem to the hem of the sleeve. Okay, let's do that for both sides. So take this to the sewing machine and sew along the side seams and overlock them for both sides. Then we're going to finish off attaching our facing piece here. Just come to the right side of the top. Along the shoulder seam, we're going to be stitching in the ditch, making sure to catch it at the back here. Okay, when we finish that, we're also going to go ahead and just hem our top. Just do a double turned hem at the bottom here. And for the sleeve, we're just going to go ahead and do a double turned hem as well. Okay, let's go and do all that. Okay, now so my top is finished and I'm happy with the result. Thank you.